Today we're replacing ball joints
and battery trays.
So this is what I got so far. This is like an old panel from some electrical box, and I'm just laying it on here, and I have 3 marks on there to line up on the original battery tray. So that's what I got so far. I have to make this shorter. I'll show you on the battery here. So okay, so I put the tray underneath the battery, and you can see there's a little bit of a gap right here. So I'm gonna figure out how much of a gap that is, and that's just enough for the foam that I'm gonna use on the side here so it's not battery tray on metal. And then I'm gonna duplicate that from this mark that I just made. And then I'll cut this wall. So I'll make a mark probably right around there. It's probably where I want it. So I'll actually measure that and make it straight. And then I'll come over here and I'll make another mark like that. And then I'll cut this wall, bend this down, and then from there, I'll bend this whole side up. Well, I'll have to hammer it, but that's what we'll do. All right, so I got that cut. Now I'm just gonna give it a little bend. Get it out of the way. Bend it up like that. We could even cut that off, although that will be a good stop. It'll kind of tell us when to stop when I bend this side. So I think next step will be to bend all this stuff, get that all flat. Let's see. Just want to do it even. All right, I'm going to show you guys a trick. It's not really a trick, but it's what I'm going to do to get this nice and flat, because the bend in there doesn't want to get flat on this soft of a surface. So I'm going to use the top of an axe or the back of an axe. Now, I probably have other pieces I could use in here, but might as well. Much nicer now. You can see how much nicer that is. Less wavy. Now we just got to get it back into shape. Now this isn't a how-to on bodywork, but it'll help you flatten some metal out. There you go. So I just went over it on both sides, get a little nicer, and I think I'll work on this little corner here real quick. And now I can put it back in this vise. If you have a vise mounted on a table like this, you can do this. So we'll use this flat bar, hold that in there if you can. Probably have to snug this down a little bit more before I make these adjustments. You want it to be like touching but not squeezing it. So when you make an adjustment, ow, you crush your finger just like that. just sliced my finger open. That's okay. Just a little slice. So now I'm just gonna bend it back. Oh, and you know what? I forgot about that little wall right there. That's why. Okay. Well, we can do this. We'll just readjust this. Even better. Now it's set up. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna bend it a little further than I want. And then I might have to even tap this into place a little bit. It looks like it came up. All right, let's see what we just did. All right, not bad. Not the best. We have to bring this in a little bit, but yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world. We can make that corner a little tighter like that. Let's see. So now, put this axe head back in. And then we start working it this way. All right, so I'll put this on the car there, line it up with our little lines there. There we go. Oh, thunderstorm and a crow just shat on my spare tire.
It shit on your tire?
I think I just got yeah. He literally just shat on my spare tire. I got footage of that whole thing, dude. What the hell?
Drive by, call the authorities.
I'm gonna send that to the EPA. There's too much exhaust out of that crow. All right, so it's the next day. Not a cloud in the sky. Okay, maybe there's two. But we're back working on the battery tray, cutting apart old electrical panels. And last I showed you guys, where'd the piece go? This was the last thing I showed you guys. So I bent up that corner, got it relatively straight, and now I'm gonna put a wall on the front here. So the reason I'm doing that is because my headers are so close to the battery that I'm kind of worried that they're gonna overheat or that this thing could tip over this way. So I'm gonna put another wall right there just to sort of have a heat shield. And I think it'll make everything look a little better. So that's what I'm gonna do. So this piece is the same size as the section that we have now, which it just so happened to work out that way. I didn't really plan that, but I think that'll be perfect. So I'm just gonna cut right here, take this, put it right there. Alrighty. Alright, so we got that back in there. It's looking pretty good. Pretty close to that edge right there. I might just clean this whole edge up as we go. Let's put it in the car. And I mean, it's not bad. I don't hate it. The one thing I'm worried about is the distance between here and here. Although I think we can bend this wall a little bit more. And this will also, once it gets welded or bolted up, it'll be a little bit further that way. All right, so this is the corner now. Ground everything nice and even. And I'm starting to like this lip a little bit more now that I'm seeing everything ground down together. I zip cut this little corner off, and I'm going to do a bead there, do some welds there. And then I didn't manage to get the zip cut or the grinder in here to get all the galvanization off, so definitely gonna have to use a mask, a respirator, when I weld this, because that is not gonna weld neatly, and it's definitely not gonna weld without some crazy chemical off gas. So in any case, this is all set now. I just have to tack it together. All right, so here's where I'm at with the battery tray. Just a couple tacks there, and then welded the bottom side. And there are a couple goober welds, but I didn't really want to clean them up all the way because I'd rather just have the strength and have them look really good. Plus, they're gonna be hidden just like that. I mean, you can't see a single weld, so what I'm thinking now is I've pulled this out, I've cleaned it more or less, and I'm gonna hit it with some primer so it doesn't rust. It is raining and we are putting stuff away. Well, I am. My dad just left for the grocery store and I gotta cover all this stuff up. Hurry, get on there. Oh man, it's coming down. This is the benefit of having a shop. If you didn't know, I gotta do everything out here and rely on the weather. This would be a perfect time to start wet sanding now, I guess. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna cover everything that I wasn't prepared for. Ah! Right, so here we are. There is the battery tray all primed up, and I was gonna use some self-etching primer, but I just had this lying around, so I did not want to go out and buy any more primer. So that's what I used, but you can see there's some goober welds in the back. I added these after I ground all this down this morning, after the rain came and all of this got wet, so I had to redo this whole top piece and thought I might as well add some good welds. Ended up doing some bad welds. It's not an aesthetic thing though, so I'm not gonna grind them down. There was some good penetration, some, not all of it. In fact, most of it is bad. Don't do this at home, this stuff. Do better welds. I'm gonna do better welds eventually. But until I get shamed by YouTube, that's what it's gonna look like. Plus the battery is gonna sit right here. Nobody's ever gonna see that, except for you guys. You guys are gonna see that, and potentially thousands more. Right now it's like a couple hundred per video, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so while this dries, I'm gonna leave it for 24 hours and then hit it with some black. I am going to finally get under the car and replace the ball joints. I needed to do this before I went to Bakersfield. As you can see, it's not looking so hot, but it is what it is. We made it there and back, so I'm gonna get under there, jack it up, and put the jack stands on, take the wheels off, and then get back to it. I'll set you up so you can see what's going on. To remove the ball joint, we have to cut out these rivets and then use a hammer and chisel because I don't have an air chisel. And to do that, first we want to support the lower control arm, put a jack under there, just barely touching it. And then we're going to put the coil spring, put a ratchet on it to the lower control arm so that it doesn't go flying. It's not super tight. It's not compressing the spring or anything. It's just grabbing it, and it's looped through the control arm, so if it does go anywhere, it's not going far. Alright, it's kind of hard to see because we're in the shadows working back here, but let me see if I can get it focused. So there's the castle nut right there, and there's its little holding pin, so I'm just gonna compress that and then push it through. Take the castle nut off, and then we'll get to hammering. So this is how I get the ball joints off. I get a 15/16, something thick, and put that up into the ball joint, just like that. And then once you get that, take a garden stake, something with a taper like that. Then you want to put that into here and just smack them together. Hold them both and smack them in, and this whole thing will pop loose. So I'm going to start grinding out these rivets, and once they're ground out, I'll take a chisel to them, hammer them out, and this whole thing should just pop right out. We can replace it. So I'll get to it. I can't believe I had that on time lapse. In any case, I just took my bar here, put it in between, pried the upper control arm up and over, and this whole thing falls out. Now there's a little bit of tension on our hydraulic line, so I'm going to zip tie this up, make sure that it doesn't break that line. Put that like that. Now it's not going to vibrate, and then I'm going to start cutting. Whew. That is some tiring work. You know, since I do have the space, I'm just gonna go in with the grinder again and grind these down. All right, here's what we're working with. So let's see if this is gonna wanna come loose. Maybe this guy. No. I can see it separating, but it's not quite there on that one. Try this one. This one's a little shorter, I think. I might just need to drill them out, but I'm gonna take a break and see what we can't do. All right, I am going to try. I had some coffee and watched a video, and they just pried this straight up. So I'm going to try to get this under here. All right, I just might have made a really bad discovery, maybe a really good one. There's a plate in between here, and I'm hoping that that's gonna come out as well, but this plate grabs onto that plate, and I'm really worried that I just gouged up the underside of it for no reason. So on that side. That's almost up there. Okay. Oh man. Okay, so cool. Yeah, that is gonna come off. I think we're gonna have to grind that out, but look at that. There we go. And yeah, I'm gonna do it this way again. All right, I'm almost there. I ended up using this fat chisel, getting into there and prying this up, and now I'm using a smaller one to get in here, and hopefully that should give it enough room to pop right out. Try to stay out of the sun so you guys can see this. Almost. Pull it out there. Hey, finally. Ball joint officially out. Upper ball joint. Look at that. I don't know if that's supposed to, I guess it's supposed to be in 2 pieces. It's interesting. I've never seen one out and about like that. There we go. That comes out. So does the boot. Destroyed boot. And we'll clean all this up, get these rivets out of here, and put the new one in. All right, I didn't get me punching out the first one, but I'll get this one. I'm almost done. I did the same thing that I did to this rivet. Again, I just cut an X into it. I chiseled it out and then used a punch to punch it out. And I did use a bit of a sandpaper flap wheel to clean this up a little bit, clean up those gouges and whatnot. Hey, there we go. One more to go. Let's try it now. And the reason I'm using this is because I want to have a lot of quick taps, not heavy taps here. Hey! There we go. Ball joint officially out. Now we can clean up the bottom side. Gotta clean up all this gunk before I put the new ball joint in. And then we'll install the ball joint, torque everything down, put the knuckle back on, and this thing will be ready to go back on the road. All right, the sun is going down. I've hit this with the degreaser and water maybe 4 or 5 times. And now I'm gonna hit it with some alcohol and get rid of all the debris and little pieces of metal that are still stuck to there after sanding, so that I can prep it for some primer so that this doesn't rust. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna keep cleaning this and then hit it with some primer. So I'm gonna paint the bare metal. I should be using self-etching primer, just like I should have used self-etching primer on the battery tray. But like I said before, you work with what you got, and this is what I got. So I have a little paper bag here. Just gonna shake this up and get a nice mist coat. And that should be good for now. Don't probably even covered it a little bit too much. I wanted a nice mist coat like that. but that's fine. Let that dry and we'll hit it again. All right, so if anybody's interested, these are the ball joints I'm using from Mevotech. You can find them on Rock Auto under your specific year Pinto, but pretty much Mustang 2 upper ball joints. So yeah, I put a little bit of grease underneath here before I install them, and then obviously we'll pump them full of grease so they're completely filled once they're on the car. So yeah, let's go ahead and put them on. All right, there we go. Got the bolts in, ball joint on. Just gonna tighten everything down and we're installed. All right, so before I snug down any of these nuts, I just put the castle nut on and all three of them hand tight, and then I'll end up tightening them down with this guy and get them snug down evenly, or as even as I can. And then once they're snug down, where this thing is sort of binding, like that, then I'll torque them down to spec. And there we go. New ball joint officially installed. I'm not gonna tell you what the torque settings are. You're gonna have to look in your shop manual for those. But we'll just fill that up with some grease, put the cap back on, and we're all set to do the other side. I'm not gonna include that in this video because again, it is just the same thing, exact same thing on the other side. And I don't really have time to do the lower ball joints in this video, but I'm trying to make a mad dash for a car show this weekend, so I might do them today, tomorrow, and then have a video out next week about everything. So make sure you join the ride, subscribe, and tune in for that one. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time.